is incredibly exciting. The top lane matchup as well has the potential to be explosive. I want to talk about the mid lane, because we talk about Ryze Cassio, the potential counter pick, but when Sencux was performing well at Worlds, obviously Splyce as a team did not go far, but when we saw Sencux performing incredibly well in those 1v1 skirmishes, it was on this Cassio. So this feels like him finding a champion that he is mechanically comfortable on against a player, Caps, who we've already kind of labeled as this prodigy, labeled as this up-and-coming mid laner who's already shown us that if he gets a lead, if he gets an advantage, he can just put Fnatic on his back and carry the game.
Yeah, that will be definitely super interesting to follow, and the way that comes to be though, and most advantages happen, is through junglers. So we'll have to watch Broxah on this Lee Sin, see if he can get some lockdown, because there's no cleanse on this Cassio. If you arrive early and you have a flash there from the Ryze with Broxah follow-up, then Sencux is done for. But obviously, if you're on the aggressive and you have Miasma versus Lee Sin, who has ward-ups, and Ryze, who kind of wants to ulti out of bad plays or has a flash, then suddenly you can turn that gank upside down with a Rek'Sai plus cast W. Super strong combo as well.
So crazy, but it's enough talk, Krepo. It's time to hit the rift in this clash between Fnatic and Splyce.
Broxah, what a start. We were wondering how he would do. Would he be affected by nerves, yes or no? Biggest goal differences at 20 minutes that we've seen all split came from Fnatic.
I'm increasingly disappointed with Splyce week on week now. I mean, you see them take a game off Unicorns, who are sitting pretty at the top of their group, and then suddenly it just all falls apart again.
Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, game one between Fnatic and Splyce. The teams are quick to leave the base, and Fnatic already making some moves here in the level 1.
Yeah, everybody pathing to bot side, making sure they have some information here. Information on jungle start, always useful. Not too much should depend on it though, it's not super cheesy. It's going to be rough for the Splyce bot lane when they get pushed in early. That's still poke you can recover from if Mikyx just bases here. So that's fine. There were some changes to Malzahar in 7.3, and it actually, they're quite significant, even though it's only a 0.3 spawn time on the Voidling. What it changes in this particular matchup is that you can no longer intercept Karma Qs mid-air. Because previously, anybody launches a skill shot at you, if you're Malzahar, you just press W in their general direction, and the invisible Voidling would block it for you, then the now hit Voidling would spawn and taunt the enemy in the face. That's no longer possible, so it's much easier for Karma to connect Mantra Qs in the air.
Good old Paparito, taking out the maximum BM strategy, blocking skill shots with invisible Voidlings. Well, does I think a change, for the better? Obviously terrible to play against that if you're not familiar with that mechanic. It also blocks out, or could have blocked out, a lot of the Lee Sin engage options, a lot of the other ways that they have to close the distance. And I'm worried as to how this Malzahar pick is going to go, because we saw it not work out whatsoever when it was put into the hands of Hylissang on the bottom side with Samus.
It just plays a lot more poorly from behind. It's still a good snowballing push tool, but they're pushing the matchup at the start, so there's likely not going to be too much action. The main thing to watch is how well Kobbe will CS on their turret, honestly.
All too important at this stage, and once again, Ziggs not something we see when it comes to the bottom lane. Are waiting, as you mentioned, on that lost chapter before he can just endlessly push the lane.
There's this notion that Ziggs is perma-push, but actually Karma is perma-push, and Ziggs is just trying to do it best as he can, because he doesn't have that strong trades with the bombs early. Later on, level 3, 4, he's okay, but then especially on last chapter, he just spams spells over and over. So this is a good start for Fnatic, especially considering their draw.
Interesting too, both junglers starting on the bottom side of the map, not looking to put pressure on the bottom side whatsoever, instead focusing on the top side. And we're seeing a lot more carries come out right now in the top lane. Camille versus Rumble, we saw Gnar versus Rumble in the last game.
And that's honestly a great observation, because if you look at this bot lane, there's nothing to influence, right? If you're Fnatic, you don't need your jungler's help, because you can disengage from ganks. If you're Splyce, it's really hard to gank this lane. So that's going to be struggling. But in the top lane, if you can influence a swingy matchup like Wunder's Rumble into this Camille, that it can be game deciding. And Broxah's here already.
Yeah, Broxah's looking to decide the game, but there is vision there. Rumble will pull back. Trashy, not quite near enough if they wanted to go for the 2v2. Wunder continuing to push, knowing now that he's safe.
Surprised that he uses that pathing. Doesn't even elect to use the plan to hop over, just honestly walks up top. So maybe he got called over by sOAZ on a panic move. Broxah right now invading. He has a stronger duelist matchup, so he wants to find information on Trashy to then allow sOAZ to play with more liberty.
Trades continue on the top side of the map, but in the jungle, red buff is now being contested. Has the vision of Rek'Sai, saw him taking Krugs, and Trashy maybe a little greedy not to go for the buff.
Going in.
But Wunder sticking the line a little too wrong. Here comes Broxah, wait for it. Sonic Wave doesn't connect. Wunder now stunned up. That's going to be too... Burning down. Slowly but surely, red buff not enough.
Ooh, either Wunder's greedy or really good at math. I think he's a little greedy. You already dodged the gank. sOAZ already flashed aggressively, and then you walk back in there to get the stun in your face. But flash for flash in the end, and sOAZ has the lane control. Now that lane is seemingly frozen in front of the turret.
Oh, Broxah coming in one more time. Sencux no cleanse, as we talked about earlier. There's the follow-up. Sencux gonna fall too. First blood drops.
Yeah, we gotta question the Kooks here. If the Lee Sin was spotted on the top side, you're playing versus a Ryze, and there is a wave that's stacked. Back off, man. Step away from the Ryze. If you flash snares you and you allow Broxah to connect the Q, you're done for as Cassiopeia in the early game.
I mean, not only is it the kill, look at the CS differential.
Yeah, this massive wave was crashing into Trashy's obviously very happy. He has a level lead on the enemy jungle probably soon.
But not at all what you wanted. We talked about how swingy this matchup is. Caps still has flash as well. Sencux has blown every summoner. And top lane may have traded evenly in the end, but mid lane does not look good for Splyce.
That is then very poor awareness and cross-lane communication from Splyce. And that is one of their main faults last week as well, where Wunder dies a lot to roams that can be spotted on the map. Right now, Fnatic looking to fight back.
Knocked up. Is going to be locked up by the miasma. Has flash still.
Just walks out.
Good to get the damage down.
They hate him. That's rough.
They're not going to catch caps. This is honestly exactly the early game that Fnatic wanted. Bot lane continues to push and try to match the push, but Ziggs is doing fine overall. Top lane is even for now, but mid lane very greatly in their favor.
Yeah, there is one problem with this matchup for Fnatic. The spike on 6 is damage heavy, but there is no cancels for Malzahar. So while they want to perma-push, they're going to be perma-pushing into a character. Hang on. Good side set from Jesiz. You see the delay on the Voidlings right there. In previous patches, you would shoot your captive audience or Jhin W that way. So either way, you snare him or you jukes forward into 4 Voidlings. Right now, you only juke forward into like 1 or 2 Voidlings. That's the difference right there. So really good change right there if you hate Malzahar.
Who doesn't? Unless you're playing Malzahar, in which case, respect to you. I like free ELO too. I like point and click abilities. They're easy.
Let the Voidlings do it for you. Here's another one of those roams that Fnatic love doing and that Splyce was notoriously bad against last week. Let's see if it works.
2v3. Trashy's just going to get popped. Now they're going to go right in onto Wunder, sOAZ keeping him in the cage. The Hextech ultimatum. The ultimatum is death, and Fnatic 3-0 up.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I think this time Splyce was prepared. They knew it was coming. There was just simply nothing they could do about it at this point because they misplayed the early game so drastically. Look at the amount of, or the lack of punish rather in the mid lane. Sencux saw this play happen. He pushes out and there's nothing he can do.
This is so brutal to watch. Falling now losing out in the push. I mean, they're doing fine in the farm, but this is what you talked about. Ziggs suddenly under tower. That is the trade-off, but it's not. I don't feel like this is enough for Splyce and Wunder just so consistently getting caught out on the top side here. You can see it now. 9 isolated deaths at 15 minutes. Now at 10.
Now, this one wasn't isolated because he was with his jungler, so that one doesn't count. But Trashy in mid lane.
Oh, caps.
Ooh, miscommunication as well.
Forward. Looking for the outplay. In comes the Realm Warp. He's going to get 1. Can he get 2? Now ported behind Sencux. Exhaust goes down. He wants to get it.
Caps?
Can he do it? Shut down from Sencux.
Caps was like, if the portal is here anyways, I may as well try, right? Going for the 1v2. That was really well played at the start. Really cocky at the end.
Oh, there it is. Style points to Broxah.
I did it last week as well.
This man cannot be hit
By Cassiopeia ultis. But here again, so it's definitely not isolated because his jungler's there.
He's
So
only because his corpse counts for isolation, Krepo. Because he dies pretty quick.
I mean, yeah, technically the corpse is there. Moral support, pop that icon, get that Splyce logo out there. But yeah, that was a really cleanly executed play from Fnatic. So I'm loving the shift of focus. Fnatic at the start of the year was very much so, let's play around bot lane. Let's enable Rekkles and Jesiz. That wasn't going the greatest, so now let's put Rekkles on Ziggs. Let's play around top lane. And Cabs, he had the natural lead that he got from being able to play well at Ryze and also get his jungler to help him, and then they translated that lead from mid lane into an even bigger lead in the top lane.
And so often when we look at Fnatic, we kind of look at the bottom side because Rekkles is such a star piece of potential here. But looking at it now, it hasn't always been the best for them in terms of trade-offs. Average sightstone time coming in well past. For
and you have no idea how happy this makes me for Jesiz to go back to base and instantly pick up a sightstone. I've been trying to find the flaws in the early game for Fnatic for so long, and every time I would watch, we see this choice from Jesiz. I'm not going to say if it's good or bad, but he would upgrade Spell Thieves to rank 2 immediately and not go for Sightstone whatsoever. Sometimes he couldn't afford it, but he would then basically sacrifice components, don't go for Ruby Crystal, and this is a very risky play where you opted for more damage, but you delay your Sightstone significantly, and you're very prone to all-ins because you don't have extra health. And very often it would backfire for Fnatic. Right now, they're just playing the laning approach with Vision.
I'm going for a little bit more. Kobbe taking a small trade there. Rekkles not going to commit on that, doesn't want to burn anything.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel safe to do so. But I mean, it's interesting that you bring that up because Jesiz and Rekkles were so confident coming into this season that, you know, they were going to be the lane-focused duo, that Jesiz was going to be the lane-focused support that Rekkles needed. But now they're willing to back off. Now they're willing to give up the lane and let someone else win across the map.
Yeah, and I want to see what happens. Obviously, in this composition, you don't want to play damage Karma with the Ziggs. We see Splyce trying to do what Fnatic did earlier in roaming bots, but it's really hard to catch these guys if they have the wave clear. Obviously, 4v2 becomes a lot easier.
Miasma, heal goes out. Rekkles is in trouble trying to get down a bit of damage. Throws out the ultimate. It's not going to be enough. Jesiz holding on for dear life, but he's locked down. Staring contest comes out. Double kill drops. Splyce coming back.
Yeah, really good answer from Splyce, because that's the only thing they could do. They lost the top side completely. But Fnatic still cleared the wave early.
Ultimatum, looking for a little bit more. The precision protocol comes out. Broxah's taking a lot of damage, but not enough to end his life.
And again, Wunder dies. You know they're 2 on the top side. I know it sucks for him to lead that wave, but it's better than to die and then have to lead the wave anyways right now. And that's what Fnatic do. They're pushing through on the side where they have an advantage. And while Jesiz and Rekkles died in the bot lane, they cleared the wave before. So Splyce, despite committing 4 members, they only get 2 kills and 0 turrets. Whereas Fnatic, they're opening up the map massively, funneling all that gold into sOAZ.
And while once again, I think we're seeing Splyce disappointing a little bit here in terms of decision-making. Fnatic are doing so well, the push and the pull. They give up bottom side, they get top side in exchange, and they're not giving anything away for free this time.
Yeah, they're snowballing. I mean, you could argue maybe they should back off here, but like, it's so hard to be a bot lane here. They've aggressively cleared the wave. They're forcing 3 ultis on cooldowns essentially, and they're poking the enemies that they're playing against, and they almost get a kill. If they coordinate slightly better, they can Trashy, but that's not what matters. That's micro decision making. You can go over that as a player yourself. What matters for the coaches here is what they're doing right here. They're getting the turret. Wunder sticks around. Why is he sticking around? It's so questionable for Splyce to keep making these decisions over and over.
And I feel like has the right idea. Equalizes the wave, walks away, hopes to save the tower, but just stays too close. And now Rekkles just gets to roam, just to take those towers down, and sOAZ so cleanly ahead when it comes to these duels, and there's just no way for Rumble to catch this Camille.
Yeah, it is so hard to catch a Camille who's ahead, and it's even harder on longer lanes, because it makes it so much easier to get good vision in. She can be nimble across multiple walls, she can now not only jump to, but also over. It becomes incredibly difficult to play against. Fnatic right now initiating protocol 1-3-1 as well. Ryze on the bot lane. Very good map configuration for them.
Of course, you saw what Ziggs can do when that satchel charge hit the tower, popping it instantly, making the pressure all the more threatening. And Fnatic have a massive lead at this stage of the game, and I feel like it's got to be desperation, but that ult comes out. Broxah potentially the one to get caught. All ultimate's going to be burned there, but more than enough to seal the deal.
Yeah, Broxah a little deep. Now, in 1-3-1, you could sacrifice a player if you can trade it for an objective. You know, take away the pawn, get a queen in return. But that means they need damage, so I think he got caught a little bit too early. If Caps was already on the turret, on the bot lane, and then he got caught, it would have been a good trade. This was just a minor oversight. But in the end, it's not breaking the pressure as much as Splyce would hope.
Not going to stop the Ryze from pushing for now. Caps very comfortable, even willing to risk what could be a 2v2 just to put a little bit more damage down. Trashy very determined to find the opportunity, but once again, Splyce grab a kill and just give up some damage and give up some pressure.
And now, once Broxah is back on the map, because that's the main delay right now. As a support, you can't base, but once Broxah is back on the map, Jesiz needs to base, refill that side stone, which he's doing right now. And again, Fnatic very often have vision problems. It's because of minor things like this, obviously not in this game. Like, we're talking holistically, right? If some player gets caught, you can't leave the map 3v5, so you always want to stay 4v5, at the least. If you want to have any semblance of pressure. Or you need to do a full reset like you're doing right now. But that means when your jungler dies, your support can't actually base to get wards, which means you can't set up the next play. And in 1-3-1, wards in between the lanes are super important. So we will likely see Jez's group right now with Broxah together and see if they can get some efficient deep wards.
Has to be all too crucial because you saw what happens when you're caught out, when you're isolated, when you're alone and you're unprepared. It's all too easy for that Malzahar to get the pick off. And there's no Tom Kench to save, like the last time we saw a Malzahar overall.
But they have to be patient because Splyce is trying to attack exactly that. That's why Wunder peeled into the mid lane. They know That's what Fnatic is going for. They can't do anything top lane. sOAZ is safe. He doesn't even need vision. So it's this kind of vision around the dragon that Fnatic now wants to set up to get their next objective.
Already looks so good for them. The amount of control wards present on the map means they have sight of just about everything that they want. And even if they can't get the dragon, they are set up to get the bottom lane tower. Blue buff finally falls over to Sencux in the end. Caps slowly but steadily burning down the tower. Splyce trying to figure out the right course of action, but for now the right course of action is apparently just to give this up, to concede this objective, and to back off across the map. Broxah more than happy to pick up the Cloud Drake as he sees that he is clearly and absolutely uncontested.
And the map is shrinking for Splyce right now. Just look at how dark it is, what piece of information they get. We saw it there just for a snippet. They see Broxah right here. And it's so hard right now to guess where these guys are. Like, is this Ryze still in the bot lane? Or is he already halfway through River and ulting behind Jhin? Who knows? Okay, he is. Great, that's what Splyce is thinking right now. And then it goes further like that. You just constantly have to guess where are these missing dots on the map and how do we react to them, right?
And it requires so much confidence, quick decision making to make a call in those instances. And as a weakness that we've seen from Splyce in the past, Kobbe for now clearing out the way as Splyce kind of resigned to wave clear duty across the board as they've lost out in every single one of their lanes. And I mean, when is the opportunity for them to get back in this? Is there even one present?
The only opportunity would be if Fnatic drastically make a mistake like they did, I think 2 weeks ago when they were trying to set up Baron Vision. That was actually the game that lost them Amazing X in the lineup, where Amazing went for the full AP Elise, and they didn't work together. And that is something we wanted to track this series. How well Jesiz and Broxah now use their time together to set up the vision.
Because the question is not whether or not they spend time together, as you saw on the bottom of your screen. They spend a lot of time, 8 minutes between the 15 to 30 minute mark. The question is, how are they working together? Are they placing wards together? Are they functioning as a team?
Because you can spend a lot of time in each other's vicinity, but get nothing done. I mean, I'm really close to Drakos in the office, but our cumulative efficiency is really low, mostly because Rekkles doesn't do anything.
Look, man, I look at the memes, I look at your hip-hop references, I prep for cast. That's all I do. We can't all be superstars, you know?
Yeah, Fnatic, they pick up the Herald here, and they're just slowly trying not to get caught while stalling to be able to use the next Baron as a pressure point, I think.
Mikyx and Trashy setting up for something though. Fnatic doesn't quite have the vision covered. Rekkles has been caught out. There's the lockdown. Deadly Flourish goes in. Curtain Call comes out. Who's going to get it? Trashy's on the front line. He's kicked back. The follow-up goes in for Broxah. He's going to grab one. There goes the Hextech ultimatum. sOAZ wants to find the fight. The lockdown. The bomb comes in. And double kill going to drop for Caps. He's the unseen predator on the backside. Ryze locking him up, taking him to prison. And Splyce are getting cut down. Nothing can stop this Fnatic squad.
You cannot fault Splyce for trying, because it actually was the right call to make. They saw somebody on the top side, they immediately engaged, they found a priority target in Rekkles. He dropped down to maybe 5%, but there was a swift reaction from Fnatic. They did not want to just cut one member and back away. They fought their way out because they knew they were so far ahead. And honestly, I think there was the correct reaction from both these teams in this situation. For Splyce, they need to look a lot more at the early game. What happened? How did it come to this moment?
We're not here. We can't really nitpick the desperation play. They need to make something happen. They're bleeding out.
And I like this way more than any, like, look right now. Flash, engage on the carry, take him out of the fight, potentially fight 45. Great equalizer, double knock up, and Jhin ulti. Like, it literally does not get better than this. And then there's Sencux is maybe a tiny bit late. There's a 2-man stun, that beautiful triple bomb from Rekkles that would have never happened if it would have just, you know, been slightly less fed and just died. And I like it from Splyce, but it just spirals Fnatic like more forward ahead.
And this is just the nightmare scenario when you're a Cassio, when you're a Jhin, and you're this far behind. Because, I mean, yes, you can kill the Ziggs, but the Ziggs is not this crazy late game AD carry. You have to worry about the Ryze and the Camille, who can just barrel down on you, can come out of nowhere, and it feels like Splyce just do not have the tools to deal with this.
Yeah, we're already looking at game 2 at this point. For Fnatic, this is just going to be a lesson in efficiency. They really want to close this out, because again, this is about confidence. This is about what happened for these guys in their minds, in their day-to-day this week. When they look at last week, they look at the standings, they know their failing expectations from the fans, they identify crucial failures. Like when we can spot that Wunder's dying a lot with no communication, Splyce already knows this for 2 weeks ahead, right? This is not a new thing that's happening. When this keeps happening, however, Sencux dying in the mid lane to a gank, the Lee Sin, despite having vision, having much more agency on the map, then Splyce, they're getting a lot disappointed. Like, it's really important for them now to keep their morale up for the next game.
And Sencux gets taken down so hard because I got to speak to the team before this game started. They said, this is it. This is the week where we come back. This is the week where we bring it back. And they were confident. They were laughing. They were having a good time. And I can't imagine that that's how it feels in-game right now.
So that's what you can do if you have coaches and analysts in the house. You can build up the kind of the energy and the commitment to the start of the day. But on the day itself, it's on the players. And it's really, it's easier to build that up over 5 days. So you know what, next week, it's our week. We're gonna do it. It can happen. But to do that right after this much of a stomp, that's the difference. That's where it gets really hard. Because when your coach walks up, hey guys, happens, you know, let's do better next game. You're just gonna be like, nah. Like, we tried so hard, and we ended up failing.
And it's just, honestly, it's just brutal to watch. And once again, props to Fnatic for playing this well, for punishing their opponents, for finding these openings, for controlling the vision, for Jesiz putting the team ahead of the lane.
For buying Sidestone.
For buying Sidestone is really what I'm saying. For buying Sidestone. Shout out to you, Jesiz. You're making the solo queue supports proud. But for Splyce, this is just, I mean, it's almost heartbreaking.
It is right. It's really identifiable, though. These guys have played tons of games. They will look at the replay. Okay, mid dies to Ryze snare without the Ryze flashing. Mistake. Top gets dove twice. Mistake. Game's over. In a scrim, this is already long past forfeiture. Now for Fnatic, we can judge them on how cleanly they follow up. Triple control ward around Nashor is great. That's a setup.
Well, and not just triple control ward around Nashor. That was 4, 5 even, just a moment ago, control wards in the inventory. Fnatic are not giving this game up. They're trying to close it out as cleanly as possible.
And actually have all 5 on the map, it seems. Double one in the brush doesn't count. So they're using 4 of them at least. The main goal right now is to pressure top and mid, so you force them into the base or in vision, and then you want to clean out the remaining wards in the brushes above the red buff if you're Fnatic.
We're trying to figure out Jesiz and Broxah, how are they working together? Right now, it still looks like they're independent, but the team is so far ahead, I don't think this can be the sample where we really decide how they do.
You see a little bit of, I guess, it's not miscommunication, but why is Broxah here, right? You know, I guess he's zoning, but Rekkles was the first one to walk to the enemy jungle to start the vision clear. Those are like minor nitpicking points, but let's see just how well they can clear. They're moving their control wards up, and they're playing a really solid 1-3-1 right now.
Clean to see. Pressure on the bottom side, pressure on the top side. Fnatic moving in, as you said, to clear out the Baron vision, to secure the area. And they have sight of the Baron. They can bait this, they can set this up. They are free to do what they want. This is a 10K.
Yes, exactly. This is a 10K gold lead. Everybody at home is going to be like, why are these casters, you know, praising the 1-3-1 when these guys are 10K ahead? Because it shows you how it's supposed to be, but it also shows you some of the limitations in terms of even 1-3-1 at 10K ahead, you can still get picked off. And that's why many teams are just downright horrible at executing this on stage. Those teams are also just really good at fighting back.
And it's hard too, right? Because you get impatient. You say, hey, we won fight. We can win every fight. We can win every fight. And you overstep once, and suddenly the game swings back. Suddenly there's a Baron. The gold lead isn't quite as big as it once was.
It probably won't happen this game.
Probably won't happen this game. But
this is where you have a couple extra lives, you know? If you're Fnatic, you bought some credits here, sOAZ.
There he goes. Probably set to fall. He's locked up in the Hextech ultimatum. So I was just going to take one and walk away. Just one.
Now, I do like that combo. The Camille ulti into the Ziggs ulti. It's like inescapable doom. Big fan.
Good to see the combo synergy there. Oh, sOAZ with the flash extend. Sencux going to back off. Beautiful use of the Camille mechanics, but yeah, just getting aggressive there. Trying to burn down this tower. It's going to be all too easy with Rekkles there. Equalizer to buy a bit of time, but can't see this working out too well. Caps is in the base all alone. Does have flash to go to the wall.
He has a QSS, that's why Mikyx not ulting, for anybody wondering at home.
Goes down, Satchel Charges goes in there, set to fall, Mikyx gets stunned up. That's going to be a kill. sOAZ now trying to make it out, but getting lower and lower. Tactical sweep, not going to get anything. Sencux kick back, Caps going wide. Out comes the curtain call. One's going to drop. Splyce, a bit of a reprieve here, but inhibitor drops.
I love how dead set Broxah is on never getting hit by Cassiopeia ulti. He now flashed behind the Cassio to then kick her in. So this guy, he's seen. He stared directly into the light, and he knows.
We've got 3, Reddit. Can we get a montage?
Yeah.
We've seen 3 now. Is this highlight worthy? Do we need 4? Should we ask him for 4?
Does there anybody need crowd for 4? 4. Can we get a 4? Broxah raises his hand. Okay. Can we see 5?
Tough ask.
Tough ask. It might be next game.
4 reasonable. 5, don't know.
But yeah, again, Mikyx holding his ulti here, I think is nice. He silences Caps too. Pressure. Again, there's not much they can do. And then Def is the ultimate cancel to Malzahar ulti. We'll watch Broxah here. Sweeps in. Like, you never catch me. Oh! Technically was too late on the flash. He already dodged it. But I appreciate the effort.
It looked really cool. And if you hadn't pointed that out, I would not have known that it was too late. And many players with the ELO similar
But that's
to
what
mine.
I do. I spoil the fun. 12,000 gold though. This must be such a great feeling for Fnatic. Because even after what Splyce tweeted, Wunder tweeted out, if it isn't a double 2-0 this week, we will be disappointed. Well, guess you're disappointed at this point. Fnatic, they were confident though, as well, looking to fix things. It's a good opponent to go against because it's one of the weaker, stronger teams, you know. So it's not a bottom tier team that you're just getting a kind of a pity victory against. You're still playing against kind of the direct equivalent in the other group of yourself. Like a third place team that had higher aspirations.
And they're so comparable too, right? Because Splyce we expected more from because they had been together, they hadn't changed their lineup, and so and Fnatic and the whole lineup because they promised us as an organization that this was going to be the lineup that would work out well. And now it is. Now we're seeing that they can take down a team like Splyce, that they can put themselves above what we would call a middle of the pack team, and that's the first step. They want to keep it going. But now, Krepo, we have to find something to talk about while Fnatic slowly closes.
I mean, Fnatic closed out the game. I'm still not convinced on the Ziggs though. I think this is a pick that only works against teams that are significantly weaker than you, and any other pick could have done the same thing.
And I think aside from the nice alt combo with the Camille, what did the Ziggs really do?
I mean, the bot lane was irrelevant in this game, so we can't judge. sOAZ and Caps especially, they were the main heroes of this game.
Broxah caught out though. Is he going to be able to dodge another ult? He does not look like it. Ooh, one more shot. Are they holding it? Where's it going to... Oh, okay, Jesiz blocks it. Caps now on the side. This has got to be disastrous. Trashy set to fall. Bouncing bomb. Not going to connect. Caps moving forward. He gets one. Deadly Flourish going to lock him up. Fnatic with the slow and steady closeout here after an absolutely dominant early game. Sencux still with ulti, maybe looking for one last shot, but the game is most assuredly over. Does finally land the stun, but it's not going to be enough as the exhaust comes out. Sencux is doomed to fall, and Fnatic are going to move up 1-0 over Splyce in this best of 3.
Look at Rekkles. He was like frantically tapping Caps because there's this inside joke that Caps, every time they end the game, turns toward Rekkles